We've got 3 best of Redditor update stories for you guys today. If you're new here, my name is Sarby. I've made over 160 reading Reddit videos for you guys that I record live with my audience so that you guys can join me in reacting to the stories. Today, we dove into a little bit of r/best of Redditor updates, starting it off with I told my dad and stepmom about my engagement, and their response triggered me to suddenly remember years of repressed childhood memories, and now I do not know how to move forward with our relationship. You guys will not believe how diabolical the dad is in this story. But stick around for 2 more absolutely insane updated stories, such as my friends/coworkers are mocking my wife and our arranged marriage. Not sure how to address or deal with this. As well as the last story that we're going to be ending the video on. I think I don't want to marry my boyfriend anymore. And this one has an update a year and a half later. As always, guys, juicy stories today. Let's lock in here and read some Reddit. I told my dad and stepmom about my engagement, and their response triggered me to suddenly remember years of repressed childhood memories, and now I do not know how to move forward with our relationship. We have a 36 female OP. Both of the parents are in their late 50s. Originally posted to r/relationship advice on July 19th, 2019. My dad and stepmom have been together since I was age 3, so 33 years. My childhood was a disaster zone. I have lost large chunks of time where it is a big blank area. I thought it was maybe because I had to take so much Benadryl as a kid because my allergies were so bad that I didn't remember much. Now I think the memory loss is mostly trauma related. Dark, murky memories would come up, but I have no real timeline of my childhood. My mom was married many, in parentheses, many times, and we moved a lot, and she had a baby, and then another baby, and then 2 more babies. I can sometimes piece together a home we lived in, or what school I went to when, but it is all a blur. I was both my parents' first child and the baby of teenage marriage. There was alcoholism and drug use and chaos. Some things have always stood out, like the time a stepdad put a gun to my mom's head, or my sister being born, or times when we had to move out fast and we were told to start throwing the things we wanted into garbage bags and put them into the car. That's fucking crazy. My mom and I were very close, and I was kind of her co-pilot through all the crap. Crazy as our life was, I loved the hell out of her, and she died 2 years ago from cancer. All in all, I have had a kind of hero through it, my dad. About a year ago, my dad, stepmom, and I were sitting outside around a backyard fire having drinks and real talk. He said something that surprised me, which was that I had lived with them as a kid for a period about 4 to 5 years. This was news to me. I had not remembered living with them for that long at all. In my head, it was maybe 6 months. My dad was hurt I did not remember living with them. During that time, my stepmom apologized for being so mean to me during my childhood. I shrugged it off and joked, well, I guess it's water under the bridge since I don't remember. She said, no, I was really mean. And I said, it's okay. All of it has come around. We are good now. Interesting. Okay, so the stepmom clearly did something, but at least the stepmom is holding herself accountable to it. But like, the fuck did she do? Fast forward to 2 days ago. Over the weekend, the man I love got down on knees and asked me to marry him. Magical moment. We've been very happy. In fact, it's the first relationship I've ever felt safe in, but it takes work and effort for me to trust. I tell my dad and stepmom the news and watch the whole thing turn and capsize. My dad makes a comment about how I had to beat my sister to a ring. My sister is their daughter / my half-sister and is in a serious relationship that is also leading to marriage soon. I am struck. I do not feel competitive with my sister, and she and I have always celebrated each other's victories. Then my stepmom asks about where and when, and I tell her it might be a year out, and she starts making excuses about how she will not be able to go, not willing to go, but tells my dad he can go. I hear this and know my dad will not ever take a trip without her, and start to panic that he will not come to my wedding. The comments pile and mount, one on top of the other, until my whole body is trembling. Although I have been sober for over a year, Suddenly I want nothing more than a drink, but I do not drink and say everything is fine when asked and try to leave on a good note to make sense of my feelings in private. Wait, to get this straight, the dad and the stepmom are mad at OP for getting engaged before their daughter? Something that needs to be explained is that there's always been a strain with stepmom and me. I try hard to do things right, but I'm scared of her and always have been. As an adult woman, she still scares me. She's incredibly controlling, powerful, dominating, and it is hard. My tactic in avoiding being a target of her passive-aggressive behavior and anger is just to be super nice. Nice all the time. Smile, swallow, repeat. When I came home from the engagement announcement, it was like the floodgates opened. One memory cascades into another and another and another. Suddenly I can recall being 7 and 10 and 12 and all the fear I had as a child in their home. I remember how much she hated me, the name calling, the scapegoating. I remember sucking back tears and being told not to cry at all. I remember hearing all the time, "You're fine." I remember the secrets I had to keep about how mean she was. I remember walking down the hallway in our home and being pushed into another room while my dad watched TV in the living room, and her whisper screaming that I was a brat and a terrible child and was ruining her marriage and being told to say nothing to my dad. I remembered she controlled my sleep habits. I have always slept on my stomach, but she required that I slept on my side to face my little sister at night, and would come into the room in the middle of the night and catch me on my stomach and wake me up to yell at me and tell me to go back on my side. She controlled the relationship I had with my dad. We could not do anything she was not a part of, did not supervise or control. I remember being cornered again and again. I was targeted and she was after me, and it was relentless. I remember her sisters telling me how sorry they were and that it was not okay for me to be treated this way. She was a relentless bully. I remember my sister, who was 7 years younger, always trying to protect me and shield me from her mom. I remember being taunted and teased and made fun of. I remember one time she yelled at me out in front of our house, and I got so scared I peed my pants and had to run inside and change. I remember our neighbors saying that I was safe in their home, and if I ever made a mistake in their house, they would not tell my stepmom. I remember when I left my dad and stepmom's house to move back with my mom, that they took down all my photos from the walls and told me they would be fostering or adopting a kid to fill my place. When I moved back with my mom, life changed and was chaotic in the way it was with my mom. So I think I just forgot all this stuff and kept going. But with this sudden flash of remembering everything now, there's just anger. Layers and layers of anger. Anger that my dad did not stand up for me. Anger about what they knew, but I did not. A sense of abandonment. What the hell is this? How can I have forgotten all this? How does it just sweep from view? In my head, I rage at her, and the main thing I say is, guess what? Now I remember. I mean, even if up here she was saying sorry or whatever. I, number one, don't think it's actually genuine based off of the reaction that they had to the engagement. But number two, that does not make up for any of the absolutely fucked up shit I just read. Like, OP is genuinely a real life Cinderella, bro. The sleep one to me is fucking crazy. Like, you can't control the way your body decides to move while you're sleeping. Also, what the fuck is this that you have to be on your side so that you're facing the sister? Just wow. And also, yeah, this stepmom sucks, but let's talk about the fucking dad for a second. Like, what an absolute dog shit father. That's crazy, man. And to think too that OP had this idea that the dad was a hero. I sent them a text, a sheepish way to confront it, but for once I stood up for myself. It was very hard and my whole body quaked and trembled. They did not respond. The thing is, they've been trying in the past years. They moved to my state. They want a relationship with me. She did apologize back in the yard that day. I know my dad loves me and tried his own way to protect me. I don't think I will get any sense of accountability from them. But now it's like this mystery has unlocked inside me. I always felt unsafe around her. I never felt like, even when she has been nice to me as an adult, that I could trust her. Now I know why. I think I'm going to lose this last remaining chunk of parents I had. My mom is gone, and I have continued to work through all the things that happened with her, and will head back to therapy to deal with the rest. My sister asked what I want to come of all of this. Why put it all towards them? What kind of battle am I setting out to wage? And I really don't know. I didn't see this coming, and I'm at a loss. I feel guilty for bringing this up. Like I am going to wreck the family. but I am also furious. I want them to have to hear it all from me. I want to ask my dad what he did and did not know. I want her confession. I feel like I can already hear my dad telling me not to be so dramatic, and yet I feel like I will not be able to stuff this one back in. How can I rehash something that I only now remember? Is it worth it to even try, or do I just salvage a fake relationship for the sake of having one? I feel bad about feeling sorry for myself. Is there anything that will come from holding them accountable, or am I just headed down a path of anger and victimhood? I wonder if we can even have a relationship from here. To be honest, y'all, I think not only is there not a relationship to be salvaged, but I don't think it's worth salvaging the relationship based off the dog shit reaction that they had to OP getting engaged. What's supposed to be one of the happiest moments of her life, they decided to step on because clearly, even though they've apologized for it and water is under the bridge, they still have feelings about OP that they shouldn't have as parents. Like, clearly they care more about their own daughter than OP. Clearly OP needs to figure this out in therapy, and maybe there should be a conversation, but I don't even think they're owed one. Like, especially if you texted them and they didn't respond to it, like, I don't think it's worth it. I also think this apology, as genuine as I thought it was initially, with how bad I'm learning that the stepmom was, she should have clarified what she meant by, no, I was really mean. Like, I think that would be like truly, hey, I'm remorseful. I was in a bad part of my life. Like, I've come to terms that this is a bad thing and I'm apologizing for it. That's how you apologize for something. Not just like, oh, good thing she didn't remember. Water under the bridge. Like, there's no accountability here. I think with apology, there needs to be accountability as well as action steps to change. And I think that actually also goes along with accountability. But clearly they have not fucking changed. That apology was really, I don't care, but I want this over with. So whatever, here's what you want to hear. Don't get me wrong. She did do it when she didn't necessarily have to do it, but I feel like the apology was just going through the motions. And it was more of like, in case you do remember this, let me apologize for it. Not, I truly feel bad about this. Yeah, they want it off their conscience. It's not about facing consequences for actions. Exactly. That's a great way to put it. Yeah, I mean, I think it's just the long-term show that they haven't actually changed. Like, you want family around you that when they hear that you're getting engaged to the love of your life, they're super excited about it. They're not comparing you to the stepdaughter that they've compared you to their entire life. Couple of relevant comments. Someone said, forgive me for ignoring the big crux of this issue, but I'm stalled at, what's her angle here? They've been trying to better their relationship with you, but then you give happy news and she makes a baseless claim of sisterly competition and immediately can't attend. Why? What does she still hold against you now? Why? Obviously, she harbors some bullshit reasoning as to why she dislikes you so much, and she's got to skate by thus far on your inability to remember the early days of her abuse. But this was an out. She didn't have to say she was unable to attend. She's choosing to still be a shitty person to you. OP replied to that saying, you have hit on one of the more confusing aspects. And I think why this made it all come up and out. It's still the same behavior from both, really. That is why I'm kind of at a loss where faith in any change is concerned. Feels like if we are still going to remain a family and spend time together, then I will have to accept the underhanded comments that I've always been aware of. Thanks for pointing this out. It helps me feel less crazy. No, that is a super good point. Like, why apologize, but then still continue the behavior that you apologized for? And then the top comment on this is someone saying, hi, old damaged person here. I have one piece of advice, which is to let it sit a while. Think it over. Allow your initial reaction to crest and recede. Then decide what to do. Otherwise, all the buried hurt will come boiling out and it will go badly. As for what to actually do, parents are overrated. I know, I'm one of them. Build a strong family of your own and don't worry about them. They sucked when it mattered, and now they're good when it doesn't matter. Okay. I mean, easier said than done. Like, I'm sure getting your parents out of your life is not an easy feat, especially if they've been there since the start and you thought that they were good people up until this point. But yeah, I actually do agree with this person. I think it's just cut your losses. Like, they're clearly not great parents. You're adult. You're about to start a new family, a new life with a person that you love. Like, don't get me wrong, it's not easy, but I think it is the right thing to do. Edit/update. I figured this would be my own private story/rant for a few eyes in the corner of Reddit. I did not expect this response. I've been battling with wanting to take it down now. My fiance has encouraged me not to. I've been panicking that my parents will see this. I do not want to hurt them. There is no part of me that wants that, even in anger. I just want them to know and be honest without downplaying what it actually was. Not sure that will happen. Pretty unlikely. but it's a want. As for what to do about it, I will head off to EMDR and have a handful of referrals for Monday. I will take the damaged old person's advice, in parentheses, thank you, and move slowly here and get help and not go scorched earth just yet. Chat, does anyone know what EMDR is? EMDR stands for eye movement desensitization and reprocessing. It is a type of psychotherapy that aims to help individuals process and heal from traumatic or distressing experiences. Thanks for the help, encouragement, and congrats. As for my partner, which a few posts have asked about, I think he has been a huge reason this is coming out. I think the security of our home and relationship, plus lack of booze as a coping strategy, has meant now that there is the opportunity to actually feel things. I don't know, new territory. He has been hugely supportive in all areas of my life. He is sober too, a processor, a thoughtful person, and we have sat and read some of the responses together and appreciated the insights and conversation. As for those questioning validity of my memories or repressed childhood stuff, new territory also. Like I said at the top, I had heard of this, but didn't know it was an actual thing till I was in it. I can only speak to my experience right now as it is occurring, and it's been like a download of fresh information complete with recalling my home, surroundings, time of day, where I stood, where others stood, facial expressions, tone, who was there, what was said. So no, my brain didn't just fabricate a false set of memories. I feel the truth of all these things in my core. This stuff was in me, and there's not a question of its reality. The blanks have just been filled in. It feels like a very unfortunate aha moment. I mean, that's crazy to doubt that. Like, don't get me wrong. I guess there's a small % chance that maybe the memories are incorrect, but like just the fact that OP has always had this lingering feeling of fear around the stepmom gives me the confidence to validate that these are real memories that OP is having. Like, I truly think those feelings of like fear of the person is the truth. And that is explained by all these memories that are coming up now. Thanks for all of those who have shared their own personal stories of hardship and pain. Man, some of us have walked through some really tough roads. I'm sorry for you all too. Someone shared a link to an article about how isolating abuse is. It's true, makes me feel crazy. There's a strange solace in knowing others are out there powering through their own pain too. Take good care. I'm glad OP is taking the advice to let it marinate for a bit and then also go get treatment that will help with healing from traumatic memories and traumatic experiences. I still think the right answer is cut them off though, especially with what they were talking about. Like, oh, I'm building this new safe place with my partner who encourages me to be the best person I can be and supports me being able to heal from this stuff. You don't need people who are going to deter that healing. And all that I've heard from the stepmom and the dad here is that they're going to keep making the healing process difficult. And you just don't need that. We have a final update here, October 29th, 2019, 3 months later. I did what everyone encouraged me to do and hauled my butt to therapy. I shopped for therapists and found a really stellar one. He is compassionate, attentive, and clear. I also got involved in ACOA, Adult Children of Alcoholics, which has been helpful for me. My response for a long while was just to hunker down. My sister decided she did not want to speak about this topic with me, so we have been distant. My dad and I went almost 3 months without speaking. He would text inquiring or asking to meet and then cancel our meetings. I've avoided speaking with my stepmom altogether. My fiance and I have gotten closer through this experience. I've leaned on him and he has been really supportive. We are doing joint therapy to work on making sure this does not affect the level of trust and safety we can have as we move into marriage. Emotionally, I've not been too well. This experience called a narrative and history into question. The shift that has taken place has been sobering and disheartening, but it also feels like a lot of who I am and my makeup has kind of clicked into view. I have that, among other things, to be grateful for. All this hard stuff has led to some answers, even if they aren't the ones I wanted. My dad and I finally spoke on Saturday. It went precisely as I could have imagined. Probably about as precisely as many of the commenters warned it would go, honestly. I went back this morning and reread a lot of the comments before writing this and was shocked by how right everyone was. The bottom line, Dad has doubled down on nothing happened here. During our call, he said he did not want to talk about any of this, but then went on to say how much I am to blame for the bulk of it. He said he has always felt in the middle of our battles. I truly didn't understand this. I have always felt incredibly passive with my stepmom and rarely did anything to defy her. When I questioned this, he said, "You always said things like, 'You aren't my mom, don't tell me what to do.' I told him I had no recollection of ever saying this. He said it was when I was 4. You had it out for her from the beginning. I mean, but also, she's not her mom. Telling a stepchild what to do comes from earned respect. Like, even if that was true, that's very valid. The call was confounding. He told me that maybe he should have not tried to stay in my life and just done what his dad had done and walked away. He said this might have been better for me, and part of him wishes now that he had just left and started a new family. He said it probably would have been better for everyone if he had done it this way. That is just dog shit father behavior. That's crazy that this man is saying this shit, and OP started this all by saying, I have had a kind of hero through it, my dad. Those are not the words of a hero. That is the words of a fucking narcissist. He made references to me being like my mom. He said I always liked her more because of all that drama. He said this was me just bringing up more drama. I stopped trying to explain any bit of myself during the call and went quiet. There was blame, gaslighting, denial, hostility, passive aggression, all of it. The odd thing about all of it was despite him offering no validation of what did happen or is happening now, I feel validated. In my gut, I knew that was the way it would go. At least I know why I didn't ever stand up for myself. There was never much room to. I told him at least this much, that I knew this was the response he would give. Didn't expect to hear him say he wished he had just walked away, but there it was. He sees me as the problem child, and my feeling of being the scapegoat here was presented in clear view. Maddening a little, because I never even talked back as a kid. All in all, I'm thinking this one I just let go of and step back entirely. I could not have imagined ever stepping away from family, but it does feel like the sanest thing to do. I will continue to focus on healing, on therapy, on figuring out this business of trust. Thanks again. Well, I mean, not a happy ending in terms of this father's a piece of shit who goes to bat for a shitty woman over his child, but happy ending in terms of I feel like this gives OP more of a reason to distance herself from the dad and the stepmom, which I truly believe is the right answer. Like, the dad just added fuel to the fire here. As hard as it's gonna be, I think this is the right answer. I'm sorry this is all because she said that once when she was 4, a literal toddler, the mom proceeded to literally torture her because of the words of a 4-year-old. That's such a good point, Gordon. I didn't even think about that. That's fucking crazy. To hold the words of a 4-year-old on how you treat that person for the rest of their life is fucking psychotic. Oh, hello, Mr. Beans. Oh, is he gonna bless us with his presents? Is the Beaninator 3000 gonna bless us with his presents? Beats, 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 beats. Big stretch! The Beaninator is here! Everyone say hello to my handsome man. Wow! Oh, so handsome. So silly, so handsome. Look at the cute belly, bro. He's the cutest little belly. Look at him. Such a cute belly boy. Oh, sorry. There's no way you can just show your belly like that and not expect me to... Just the sweetest, handsomest guy. Just the sweetest... Oh, the tummy! Look at the tummy! Oh, you're just so sweet and so handsome. You're such a sweet, sweet long boy. Can I boop you? Boop. Thank you. Do we give him treats, chat? All right, chat. We're hooking the sweet, handsome man up fat with hella treats. Thank you guys for being so generous. I mean, we had chicken sandwiches, $200 donation yesterday, but then we had Soph coming in and donating hella. Charlie East with gifted memberships. Same for Never with gifted memberships. Mbem, Stacy, Vati with gifted memberships and gifted subs from Vati. And then we had Link Strider with 5 gifted. Dragon with 5 gifted. Thank you guys for supporting me and my baby boy. I always appreciate y'all. Like I've always said, they're not required, but they're greatly appreciated. Beans, these are from all the people. What time is it? It's Beans Tree time. Okay, here you... Oh, I just... The static electricity I built up shocked him on the nose. I'm so sorry, buddy. I feel bad because he has no clue. Like, he just thinks that I fucking shocked him for no reason. Damn, bro fucking snagged that out of my hand. Okay, chill. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Good crunch, baby boy. I feel like that was a really good one. That was a good one. That was a good one. Here's the last one, baby. What a good boy. So many treats for you today. Say thank you, chat. You're so silly. You're just a silly guy. So handsome. Oh, dude, chill. I know they just got you a bunch of treats, but damn, you crazy, Mr. Beans. My friends / coworkers are mocking my wife and our arranged marriage. Not sure how to address or deal with this. We have a 28 male OP, a 22 female wife, and around 20s male / female coworkers. Damn, 22 and you're already in an arranged marriage? That sounds a little bit like it could be a yikes, but let's just see where this goes. Original post, November 15th, 2015. My wife and I have been married for close to a year now. She was born and raised in India her entire life, while I've been raised here in America since I was 4 years old. So 21 and 27. I'm 27. I can't imagine getting married to a 21-year-old. I know it's not illegal, but I don't think that should be a thing. As you all saw in the title, this was an arranged marriage, and I met her around 2 weeks before the wedding. Despite not knowing each other for a longer period of time, we have grown very close and I care for her deeply. That sounds like nightmare fuel, chat. Call me an asshole. Absolutely fucking not. Meeting someone 2 weeks before legally being married to them for the rest of your life and that age gap is just, My main group of friends, however, many whom I've known since college, have joked and made fun of our marriage and my wife. For example, we were at a dinner party a couple months and my friends were talking about something. My wife then commented, but because she has a pretty pronounced Indian accent, she butchered a few words and everyone laughed and began to impersonate and make fun of her. Okay, that isn't okay. That's kind of more of like a racism thing. I could see how much this hurt her, and for the rest of the night she was silent and later on asked to leave early. This was the only time this occurred in front of her, but many times when I have gone out with my buddies, they casually make fun of her accent or her confusion when it comes to American traditions and customs. And every time I tell them enough, they say, "I'm just joking, man, chill out," or "Don't take it so seriously." Aside from the arranged marriage and the questionable age gap, this is also not okay. Definitely racist. This is your wife, so her feelings should come before these friends. I'm shocked you haven't cut them off by now. Or you need to be more aggressive about, "I'm just joking, man." No, that's not joking when you're making her feel bad, and it's racist. Call them out on this shit, bro. In addition, there's been a few times when I've gone out or talked with coworkers, and when they begin to talk about or complain about their relationships and I chime in, they basically ignore or make snide remarks regarding what I have to say. I specifically remember one time where a coworker said, "What do you know about marriage? Yours is not even an actual marriage." Okay, that's also uncalled for. Like, listen, I'm not a fan of arranged marriages, but if that's what you're gonna do, like, I'm gonna let you do your shit. But to like talk shit about it and call it not a real marriage, that's fucked up. Cause like, it could work. It has worked for some people. Am I pro arranged marriage? No. Do I think that most of them are probably not sunshines and rainbows? Yeah. But still, like, a marriage is a marriage. He should be able to relate with people who are married, and for them to shun it and say that it's not a marriage is just kind of fucking mean. And honestly too, I'm guessing OP is also Indian. I do think this does stem more from racism out of anything. I suppose I'm asking for help on how to deal with these sorts of comments, as I'm sure more will come throughout my marriage. My wife is naturally very shy, so I know she won't try and defend herself when shit like this happens. She hasn't been able to make any friends since coming here and refuses to come out with me because of my friends. I know she feels homesick at times, and I really want to help her come out of her shell because she's a wonderful person, and her happiness is extremely important to me. So I suppose I have two questions. How can I deal with my friends and coworkers? And how do I help my wife gain more confidence and come out of her shell? I mean, I think the answer is you stop hanging out with your friends and coworkers. Are they actually your friends if they're not making your wife feel welcoming and they're actively being racist to her? No. At this point, if your coworkers are saying that you're not in an actual marriage, that's a self-respect thing, dog. You need to step up and be like, "No, it's an actual marriage. You're fucked up for saying that. It's high-key racist." And then just stop hanging out with them outside of work. I think the answer here is you and your wife need to find a friend group that is more accepting of you guys and that makes your wife feel more comfortable, because right now she's uncomfortable around your friends, which huge stretch calling them friends, by the way. Like, no friends would prey on your relationship downfall that hard. I don't think there's much else to say here. Like, don't get me wrong, I'm questioning the ethics of the marriage in general, but I don't think that's the topic here. I'm trying to isolate that. Y'all already know how I feel about it, but assuming that nothing's predatory is happening, which I think there's a possibility for that, chat. I don't want to demonize every very younger relationship. I think there's certain scenarios where it works, but I would say stereotypically, this is not something that a normal 27-year-old should do. Marry someone who's 21. Haven't marriages been arranged for most of history? I mean, yeah, but I mean, I don't think that means that it's a good thing, because most of the time people are arranging marriages because they look at daughters as property, and usually they're trading their daughters for other forms of property, and usually underage. Relevant comments. Someone kind of quoted OP with, "How can I deal with my friends and coworkers?" Responding with, "Firmly but politely." For the "I'm just joking, man, chill out," OP should respond, "You might be joking, but I am not." For the "Don't take it so seriously," OP should respond, "That is my wife you're talking about, and I am taking it seriously." 100%, bro. Big dick energy right there. And how do I help my wife gain more confidence and come out of her shell? The commenter says, "Are there any interests your wife has, and are there any clubs in your area that correspond to her interests? Are there Indian communities in your area? Also, you might want to do a fun activity together, like dancing," assuming she likes to dance, "or go swimming or cycling together. Preferably something outdoorsy." OOP responded to that, "Yes, in fact, there's one Indian community / club she has been interested in joining. I'm hoping she feels a bit more at home there, and she really likes cycling. I think that's an excellent idea. Thank you." Another commenter said, "I have to agree, your friends sound like assholes. Have they ever met or known anyone for whom English is a second language? Have they never traveled to a country they didn't know the language? I'm horrified they'd mock her accent. If you want to remain friends with them, then you're going to have to shut down those comments." For the "I was joking," answer, "It's not a joke. It's very rude and harmful." For the "Your marriage isn't real," answer, "That's a rude comment. Why would you say something like that? Your friends seem unable to accept cultures and customs different from their own." OOP responded, "I know this may sound weird, but this is the way they've always been. We've always joked around about race and other stupid shit like that, and I never really took it seriously. I've only really started seeing how bad it is now that I see the way it affects my wife." There's a way to joke around about race that is tasteful. Like, don't get me wrong, y'all. Like, me and my friends make Asian jokes all the time. And like, if they're of a certain race too, we'll make jokes all the time. But there's a tasteful way to do that, and this was not tasteful. This was them being just straight up racist to your wife, who clearly is not okay with those jokes. My guy, I think the answer here is just have some fucking balls to stand up for your wife that you married. I know that it's an arranged marriage and like you claim to care for her deeply, but if you truly care for her deeply, you take her side over your friend's side every single fucking day. And if you don't, you're a coward. Okay, and then the top comment is basically someone saying that they need new friends, which I've said that and I agree. Here's the thing, Lesbian Wolf. I know you're lesbian. Like, I'm sure you and your gay friends make jokes to each other about being gay. As long as it's not outwardly hateful, I think you can be. But at a certain point, you cross a line. And that line, if someone crosses the line, you should call them out. If the other person doesn't laugh, you're bullying, you're not joking. Exactly. I mean, sometimes I want to make Asian jokes at Ben. See Asian Fury, and I accept them because you're also Asian. And it's different. It's context, right? Like, because I know Asian Fury is Asian, if Asian Fury makes an Asian joke, it's also a quip at themselves. If one of my friends makes an Asian joke, I know it's a joke because I have a long-standing relationship with them. But if you're just going around making racist jokes to the first person you meet, that's a fucking crazy way to live your life. I want to read this update. Did bro nut the fuck up or what? Update November 17th, 2015, 2 days later. After reading through the comments on my previous post, it really surprised me and shocked me how many people thought my friends were racists, bigots, or assholes. It struck a chord deep in me with how many outsiders had such a different perspective on the issue, where I thought I wasn't being firm enough and my friends were just ignorant in terms of ramifications of their actions. Whereas the vast majority of commentators thought that they were just plain assholes and racists. I guess I was hoping if I was simply firm in my resolve and told them in no uncertain terms if their disrespectful behavior were to continue, we would no longer continue socializing. They would see the error in their ways and hopefully apologize to my wife. So yesterday, I asked them if we could all meet up to discuss something important, and after work, we all went for drinks. Once we started talking, I told them how disrespectful they were being towards my wife and I, and addressed how much it hurt my wife to be made fun of just because of her accent and ignorance when it comes to American customs. I continued by saying that I understand we usually joke about these sorts of topics, such as race, but that I now realized how wrong it was, and it all needed to stop. They did not take me seriously at all. Immediately, everyone began commenting on how much of a bitch I'd become since getting married, and I was always so prissy and sensitive about shit we used to laugh about all the time. They continued by saying I never enjoyed myself anymore, and how I basically abandoned our group because I was always spending time with my wife. I was constantly trying to respond or defend myself, but the fuckers kept interrupting me and wouldn't let me say anything. They also said I stopped partying like I used to. Like, what the fuck? Sorry, I'm not interested in getting shit-faced at the club every Friday night. We're not in college anymore. Then one of the guys says, are you being all uptight because you're not getting laid anymore? I'm surprised, man. If my wife was as hot as my wife's name, I'd be banging the shit out of her every day. Bro. The next sentence should be, and then I punched him in the face until he bled profusely. Like, what? Then all of them fucking laughed like he made a hilarious joke instead of being a massive douchebag. After that, I was done with them and told them that I no longer wanted to socialize with people who were being completely disrespectful and held bigoted attitudes towards my wife, then left. All right, you know what? OP nutted up. I gotta give him credit there. That's the right answer. Fuck your friends. They are terrible people. Once I got home, my wife immediately asked what was wrong. I suppose I must have still looked pissed off over what transpired. I told her how sorry I was over the way I handled the situation and she would no longer have to deal with their mocking and bullying. She looked extremely guilty that I said this and told me I didn't have to sacrifice my happiness and friendships just to please her, and I should continue hanging out with them if I really wanted to. I don't know, I'm kind of embarrassed to admit it, but I started crying like a baby. This woman who'd left everything behind, her life, family, friends, to travel halfway across the world to a completely different country, all on the promise that I would provide her with a better life, thought this entire situation was her fault, and was saying I should prioritize my happiness over her own feelings or well-being. It broke me and made me realize what a selfish prick I was, so I spent over an hour convincing her this wasn't her fault at all, and that she should never believe my feelings are more important than hers. And whenever she is feeling hurt or angry, she should express those feelings without ever thinking it was wrong to do so. I'm very saddened by how long I allowed this to transpire and have a ton of making up to do. Okay, all right, you know what? He's kind of winning my favor. Still not condoning it, but if anybody can healthily be married to someone as much younger as this woman is to him, this might be the guy. Not saying I condone it, but it just sounds like he needs to be able to come to the decisions himself, but when he does come to the decisions, he does the right thing. And you know what? Nobody's perfect. He hasn't done anything completely awful and he made the right choice. And now he's showing empathy, which is very rare for a lot of the men we see on Reddit. Also, I wanted to express my thanks to Reddit. This is the main reason I posted an update. Your guys' comments really helped me take the wool off my eyes and I understand the reality of the situation. We're in a much better place now because of it and I truly do appreciate everything. Thank you. Let's see if any of these comments are relevant. Oh, interesting. Someone asked if all the guys are single and OP responded, no, actually. The one who made the sex comment is married, another's engaged, and the rest are single. Yikes, that's terrifying. Someone replied to that comment saying, wow, so that guy was also insulting his own wife with that comment, classy. And OP said, yeah, he treats his wife like shit and cheats on her constantly. Have no respect for that man. Now your ranking in my head has gone down. Because why are we hanging out with a cheater? If I learned that any of my friends were cheating on their partner, I'd fucking call them out on it and be like, you're a shitty person, dog. Like, I can't associate myself with cheaters. If you let that shit slide, you're also a fucking bad person. I stand on business with that. Unless that person's being like terribly abused or some shit like that. Then the support needs to be in the opposite side. But holy shit, bro. You should have been not hanging out with him a long time ago. All right, well, at least we got to the happy ending. OP definitely has some self-work to do, I think, just in terms of his ability to assess situations that are bad or not, but I feel like he's on the right path. Ooh, if OP knows that ex-friend's wife, he is capable of doing something really funny. You know what? That's some great karma. I'm here for it, bro. Oh, you want to disrespect my wife? Let me tell your wife that you're cheating. Haha, it's a funny joke. Like, comment, subscribe. Hell yeah, I'm here for it. I think I don't want to marry my boyfriend anymore. Originally posted r/2x chromosomes and r/vent on October 29th, 2023. Really quick, I just wanted to remind you guys I have over 160 reading Reddit videos on my YouTube channel. So if you want more of this once the video is done, feel free to dive into another video with more juicy Reddit stories. As well as if this is your second or third video, just quick reminder to hit that subscribe button. Would greatly appreciate it and would love to see you more on my channel. Not that he, 28 male, wanted to marry me, 28 female, anyway. He stated marriage is like a noose around the neck. This is the dude who makes jokes about the old ball and chain for sure. I was absolutely in love with this man. We have such a beautiful child together. I wanted to marry him because I wanted to show my absolute commitment. Commitment I thought he reciprocated, but over time, I just see that I was delusional. After our child was born, I saw him following a lot of thirst trap girls on TikTok. I told him how much it hurt me, especially when my body doesn't look great anymore after pregnancy. My self-esteem was at a low point, mostly hormones, but seeing that didn't help. I asked him to unfollow them and don't engage with that content. Every time I built my confidence up and accepted my new body, I would see him following more girls. I would remind him, he would unfollow, and I had to start building my confidence up again. For a while, it seemed good, until he had to use my phone for work since his broke. I offered him my phone since he drives for work, and I wanted him to have a way to communicate in an emergency. Months later, I log back into my private TikTok. He likes and follows hundreds of girls. He was logged into my private account on his phone, knowing I was checking in on his account from my end. I confronted him, told him that with the lengths he went to try and hide this, him doing it over and over knowing it hurt me, I considered it cheating, and I won't tolerate it again. He agreed, promised not to do it again, and we moved on. Girl, how the fuck do you still trust this guy? Also, chat, I'm gonna be so fucking real. I've never understood this. I've never understood following hundreds of girls just to see thirst traps. Like, it's never made any sense to me. Why you doing all that? Like, what the fuck? The only reason I follow, quote unquote, like, hot girl who, like, posts thirst traps of themselves on the internet is if they follow me back as, like, a business connection. And even then, I'm not liking their shit up. I don't know how to explain it, y'all, but it's just so rat brain. Oh, I see hot girl, I go like it's so dumb. It's so stupid. Things were looking up for a bit. I'm losing a lot of that baby weight. I had time to work on my appearance again. Things were feeling a bit more normal again. Reader, I'm sure at this point you're screaming at me, run, it's gonna happen again. And you would be right. I found his Twitter in my recommended. He told me he didn't have Twitter when I asked. He was following and liking again, but now I saw him commenting. I had it. I told him and he just said, I don't get it. I just see it as porn. And after a back and forth, I told him I don't want to be with him anymore. The only reason why I'm staying is I will be damned if I don't get to see my son every day. And he doesn't get to see his father every day. Now we are back in the growth phase, but damn, it's been weighing on me every day. Moments where I feel happy and confident, I just remember these women and how I look nothing like them. Moments where I look at him lovingly, happy with our growth. It's tainted thinking, what new way is he hiding his addiction to these women? Him calling me pretty or beautiful feels like a lie. Moments where we are playing with our son, wondering if it'll be the last time we do that. Seeing my boyfriend on his phone, fixated to the point where he can't even hear me talking to him. Wondering if his attention is on another woman. Don't get me wrong, like wanting to see your son every day, I understand that and that's important, but like I also just feel like you're gonna teach your son to stay with people even if they treat you like shit, or that he can treat people like shit and they're going to stay with him. If you're not gonna do it for yourself, do it for your kid. I'm grieving the me that didn't know any of this. I wish I was still oblivious. I wish I could just forget all of it. Still blissfully in love with him and our little family. I wish I no longer agreed with him when he said marriage would be like a noose around my neck. God, the kid just makes this like 80 times more complicated, honestly, y'all. I'm trying not to judge too hard because OP didn't give any timelines or like how old the kid is, but like I'd venture to guess they had the kid pretty young at like a dumb age after they hadn't been dating for a while. That's just the assumption that I'm making here, chat. I could go on my usual don't have kids when you're super young, it's not worth it with somebody brand new, but it's not worth it to go on the rant. Y'all already know how I stand on this shit. Like, this poor kid is in an awful situation, and also OP is in an awful situation because there's a kid involved. Like, if the kid's not there, OP is out of this relationship. I still think OP should leave. I think, yes, it's great to see your son every day, but you can arrange that where, like, maybe you're not living with him every day, but you have shared custody and you're figuring out a way to, like, go and see him every day. I genuinely think you're gonna teach your kid the wrong things if you're just staying with a guy who treats you like shit, is not faithful to his partner in the way the partner needs him to be faithful to them. And like, let's be honest, this dad is probably not gonna raise this son to have a healthy relationship with women. And you staying with him is not gonna help that. Like, I think it speaks more volumes as the kid gets older if the dad is preaching some really fucked up misogynistic shit, because like, let's be honest, he probably will, if that's coming from a guy that got left by his mom. Like, I just think there's more of a stance in power and more of a question mark that raises rather than, oh, well, my mom mom condones this. My mom puts up with it. I do think he's on track to raise a future incel. Like, I just think it's such an incel move to be like, oh, I need to follow hot girls and like their photos. Like, it's just so like dumb man brain. I don't get it. I only do that with a girl I'm actually talking to and have a chance with. I can't imagine like following a hot girl and just liking all of her shit because I think she's hot. That's just such a dumb way to go about social media, and it's such an avoidable thing that like makes girls self-conscious that you can just easily avoid. Like, to me, that just shows a lack of respect for your partner. If they come to you and they're like, hey, I don't like this makes me uncomfortable, and you still do it, you just don't respect what your partner wants in your relationship. Like, shit, bro, if I was OP, I'd be fighting fire with fire. There's no way this dude is actually good looking. Go find hot guys and start liking their shit. Start following them. I feel like guys that do that are really insecure about themselves and overcorrect by obsessing over others. When I'm insecure about something, my answer is to work on like my insecurity. Not gonna lie, y'all, I haven't been hitting the gym as much and like eating as healthy. Like, it's not anything bad, but I've gained just like a little bit of weight, and I'm like, you know what? I'm a little insecure about that. Let me fix that. And now I'm back on my diet. I've been gymming hella. I've been fucking walking on my walking treadmill hella. Like, I don't know. I just don't get it. You're built different, Sarby. You don't think like other men. I mean, I just don't understand why men think like that. It's so dumb. Like, it's not logical, y'all. To me, the only reason to be following a girl and liking her thirst traps is if you think you got a chance with her. If she follows you back, y'all are flirting in the DMs, like, go for it. But if you're just following a girl and she doesn't follow you back and you're commenting on her thirst traps and like liking them all the time, like, let's have some self-respect. That girl does not give a fuck about you. Why would you do that? It just doesn't make any sense to me. Thirst over someone who's gonna thirst back on you. Relevant comments. There is a downvoted commenter. Your insecurity is not his fault, although he still should not have lied to you. I feel like you two did not communicate it correctly, and just like him, I would see it as porn/soft porn, which shouldn't be a problem as long as he still genuinely appreciates you. I feel like you two did not communicate it correctly. OOP specifically communicated twice how him following girls and liking their shit and leaving comments made her feel insecure. But this guy, I feel like you two didn't communicate correctly. Shut the actual fuck up, dog. So dumb. It's giving a man who's like, oh, bro, she never told me what was wrong, even though she told you like 40 bajillion times. OOP replied to that comment saying, and I agree, my self-esteem is on me, but seeing him, the man I gave my heart and soul to, ruined my body for, actively seek out and hide his interactions with these women hurts. To see comments making me wonder if he's messaging these women or paying these women to see more. Would he fuck these women if given the chance? To continue doing so, even after I explicitly told him I consider it cheating, is not hurt done unintentionally. I'm guilty of wanting to feel enough for him, for letting that affect the way I view my body. My self-esteem is on me, but my lack of trust in him is on him and his actions. But here's the thing is like, your self-esteem gets better when he doesn't do shit like this. Not only is he betraying your trust, but then he's giving you ammunition to further diminish your self-esteem. I do appreciate someone who tries to take accountability even when they're not necessarily the one in the wrong, or when something goes wrong that maybe isn't completely their fault, but I think OP is doing too much. Genuinely, OP, you're like kind of a victim here. You told him, I don't like it when you do this because it makes me feel like this. And not only did bro betray your trust, but then he continued doing it, which brought down your self-esteem, which a partner is there to bring up your self-esteem. If you have a partner and you feel like they bring down your self-esteem, that's a big problem. Your partner should make you feel hot all the time. I genuinely believe that. The same commenter that was heavily downvoted replied, I overread the commenting part, my bad, but what if doesn't really help. He is addicted to porn. Maybe he needs therapy to get away from it. Girls posting themselves as thirst traps mostly don't even reply, nor would they ever interact with men physically. Have you tried asking him if he does not feel fulfilled sexually? Even if everything this guy is saying is true, where's the accountability for the guy who's like actually making their partner feel bad by looking at other women on the internet when she's explicitly said that makes her uncomfortable? Why is it, well, have you tried asking him if he doesn't feel fulfilled sexually? Hey, here's an idea. If the guy doesn't feel fulfilled sexually, he should take that that up with his partner. And it's the same if for some reason roles are reversed. If the woman doesn't feel fulfilled sexually, that's a conversation you have with your long-term partner. The answer isn't, oh, let me go and like a bunch of stuff from girls and follow them even though it brings down my partner's self-esteem. It's so unbelievably brain dead not to be like, hey, your partner's an asshole, but instead be like, oh, well, have you done all these things that you shouldn't be required to do? But woe is the man who can't fucking figure out his life sexually and might be unfulfilled, and therefore he needs to like all these girls' thirst traps. And you should be the one helping him figure out the problem because he's the man. It's just really giving a fucking brain dead misogynistic man. And OP needs to be like, yo, shut the fuck up, dog. OP replied to that comment saying, it's okay. And yeah, the what ifs are definitely hurting progress, but I can't help that my mind is wondering just how deep this goes. And while most don't comment back, the possibility is always there. We have discussed his needs at length, and while I'm working on my end to make sure he's satisfied, it's hard to maintain at times. Part of which is because I'm continuing to try to meet his needs when my trust in him has been obliterated. In a lot of ways, y'all, he's like throwing out the fishing line. And yeah, he's not getting anything back, but he's still trying to fucking catch the fish. And I do think in theory, if one of the fish bites, he would leave OP. And there's no excuse for that. There's no justification. So like, I'm kind of pissed at this commenter, and I just want to give OP a hug and be like, girl, leave this man. Everything he's doing is not okay. OOP replied to a longer comment about porn addictions. Seeing these comments about porn addiction changed my perspective. Context: he's an amazing dad, started working super early mornings, 3 a.m. to 1 p.m. so he can spend time with his kid. He's helping me learn Spanish so we can teach our son to be bilingual. He will help me out, no questions asked. This is his first real relationship, and we ended up having our kid before our first anniversary. Holy fuck, man. Before your first anniversary is insane. Before anyone comments, we have been friends for 10 plus years. I don't think that makes it better. You can't use the fact that you were friends to justify having a kid before your first anniversary. It's not the same. Being a friend with someone is different than being in a relationship with them. So he's navigating a relationship for the first time and parenthood at the same time. And since our last discussion on this, he has corrected behaviors I didn't even touch on. He started complimenting my body more, initiating more, giving me time to work on my self-care, in parentheses, nails, skincare, hair care, etc. So I can start feeling like myself again. He started watching porn where the women look more like me, deleted socials where there are thirst traps, etc. All of which I didn't explicitly ask for. When I say absolute commitment, I'm here through the thick and thin. I absolutely believe a relationship can recover from almost anything if both are willing. And we are. We both see now that our relationship needs to be strong for our son, and we will both do what it takes to make it work. Girl, you're saying that, but then you're talking about how he was hiding from you, that he followed hundreds of girls after you explicitly told him that that's not something you want him doing. I just don't believe it. Maybe reading all these Reddit stories have made me a pessimist, but my gut is like, girl, this ain't it. Like, genuinely, chat, there's a guy out there who's not going to be dumb, horny man brain and like a bunch of thirst traps. They did include a couple of top comments here. One of them said, you love the man you want him to be, not the man he is. You know what you should do. No, that is the perfect one-liner of how this whole story is. Don't fall in love with the potential of somebody. Fall in love with the person that they actually are. Another commenter said, you could try couples therapy, but honestly, I don't think he's worth it. And as the mother of a 19-year-old who has had a lot of revelations about her dad, your kid will not benefit from parents who live together but aren't happy together. He cheated on you, you told him not to do it regularly, and he dismissed you each time. I don't think he will change. Yeah, that's kind of the wave I'm on, bro. Like, I don't know, maybe this update will like put me on my ass, but I just don't think bro is changing for anybody. OP posted an update post July 17th, 2025, 1 year and 9 months later. Everyone was right. It would just continue to happen constantly, over and over, until I reached a point where when I saw it again, I just felt numb. I started giving love to myself, focusing on exercising, diet, creating art, spending time with my son. Eventually, I decided I couldn't be with him anymore, and I left. Get this, our son is almost 3, and when he was begging for me back, he said, I'm sorry, it's just hitting me that we have a son. Fucking what? Hey dog, if that is truly how you feel about this situation, that's a keep to yourself thought. That's not a, oh, this'll convince her. Oh yeah, that son that's almost 3 years old. Oh dude, I just fucking realized we have a son. I gotta lock in here and be a good partner. Are you brain dead? Anyway, I have 100% custody and thriving. I wish I took y'all's advice way sooner. I was so naive in thinking he would change. Here's to loving life. Couple of comments here. A commenter said the plus side is your son won't have his cheating, irresponsible ass as a primary role model. OOP replied, this was the biggest realization at the end of it all. He has a poor male role model, but by me staying, I'm a bad role model as well. I was teaching him that love is tolerating disrespect and accepting less than the bare minimum. I love him enough to put my fears of solo parenting aside. We were preaching that shit. We were preaching that shit. Be good role models to your kids, chat. OOP kind of elaborated more on the it's just hitting we have a son. He later tried to say it's just he's our son now getting a personality and it was hard for him to feel fatherly instincts. Blah, 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 blah. But really, all parents can see the personality from very early on. His problem is he decided to not connect with his son until it seemed the relationship was going to end. Yeah, and then someone asked how OP got full custody, and OP said he gave it willingly. This dude had to be wearing a mask. If bro just gave up custody of his kid, like, OP must have been drinking the sunshines and rainbows Kool-Aid juice. Yeah, guys, long story short, if your partner is exhibiting terrible behaviors and they're not making an effort to change them right off the rip and they keep doing it over and over and over again, cut your losses. Also, bro, can we not have kids before our first anniversary? Like, that might be so controversial, chat, but I am not here for that. That is awful. 10 out of 10, terrible idea.